Well, hiya folks, welcome back. It's time for another video. I've been chatting to a couple of people on the comments and they've been saying I ought to try a wood stove. So after a bit of research, I've been out and I've purchased one. It's the Solognac or Solognac, however you want to pronounce it. It's Decathlon's own brand. I did look at other ones on the market, but I've gone for this one. Two simple reasons. It was cheap and it's got everything I need in there. I will put the price on the screen. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but the beauty of this one is that when I purchased it, everything I need for a wood stove is inside of it. So without any further ado, let's crack it open and see what's inside the package, shall we? I have opened this before, but I haven't actually used it yet. This is going to be the first burn. This was the biggest selling point for me. It comes with its own fireproof blanket. Now, not only is that good with the wood stove, but I've got 101 uses for this elsewhere when I'm camping. So the fact that it included this at such a low price really did appeal to me. The stove itself is in there, and you get an instruction booklet and the grill for the stove. There is also this tiny little metal plate that I'll come to later. So the stove itself, like many of the stoves on the market, it's all in one. It just assembles itself as you open it up. Like I say, it is triangular, so you just open it up that way up, and then the base falls and you have to just unclip the little grill section. Let's get this where it's sat stable, and then the metal grill just sits on top like so. Sure, that's where it went. Yeah, there we go, nice and stable now. And this little metal plate is, you can put it on or leave it off, it's entirely up to you, but it is designed to sit just in the base here. You do have to put a bit of bend in it to get it to sit correctly, and when you've got the right amount of bend, it just forms a little ledge for you to actually rest your wood on while you're feeding the stove. So that's the stove. Like I say, this is going to be the first burn of it, so we'll see how we get on. I'll just gather a bit of wood and I'll be back shortly. Right then folks, got a little bit of wood here, and I am going to cheat and I'm going to use some wood wall firelighters. I've slightly repositioned the camera, so hopefully you'll get a better view of this. You'll have to excuse me, but I am working with the opening away from me, so hopefully it'll go smoothly, but there's no guarantees. If it doesn't, you'll see it here first. So we'll light the wood walls. I think we'll only use a couple of those in there. Get the other one out of the way, don't want it to catch fire. We'll start some of the smaller twigs. Some of these twigs are a little bit damp. I've picked a couple off the floor. Some have come off of the bushes where they've been snagged up and hanging in the branches, but hopefully they're dry enough to burn. And the dog has just nicked some off my off-screen cat stash. You can probably see over to my left here, he's just pinched one of the larger branches. That one's very wet. I must say, this little opening with the tray, even though I'm working away from myself, that makes it very easy to feed this fire. And it's got the added convenience of, if you've got a stove or a mug or something on top, you don't have to take it off to restock the fire. Well, that seems to be catching really well, surprisingly well, if I'm honest with you, judging by the dampness of the wood I'm using. That wire wool really does, that wood wool really does do a good job. Just poke a few bits in through the top. And we'll leave that to really catch. So the plan is today just to boil some water. You know, the old faithful, how well does it boil water? And to that end, I brought a couple of sets with me. So one you may have seen on my one of my previous videos is the little Trangia mess tin kettle. That I've not tried this on there, but to be honest, that looks perfect fit on there. So we'll see how that fits. And again, Trangia pan, really good fit on there, so that'll work lovely. And the other thing I brought is, you may have seen this in one of the videos, you may not. It's not been a very popular video for some reason, but this is my ultimate lightweight kit. And hopefully inside here, I say hopefully because I hope I've not took it out and used it somewhere else. Yes, there it is. Inside here is my sort of micro kit, which is the ever new titanium burner and mug, which if you want to go ultra light, that is it. That's everything you need. That's cooker, cup, everything. So we'll just get the ever new cup out. I think that's the one we'll boil in first. It seems to be stuck into its little insulation jacket. There we go. She's out. Take out the burner and the cloth. And I do have over here a litre of water. And bang goes another stick. He's doing a very good job of breaking them up into sections for me. So that there is exactly 500 millilitres of water. It's nice to know that the cup markings match up with the bottle markings. So we'll stick that on there. And I'll do this in fast forward, but I will put at the end a real time boil time for it, but I will keep stocking a few sticks in. I think the wood wool is burnt out now and we are literally just burning the sticks now. You tell me, am I anywhere near, folks? I don't think I am I? Alright, well, stick with the thinner ones until it burns down a little bit. Obviously, this will perform better once you've got a good bed of hot ash in there. This is a little premature boiling at this point, but I'm pretty sure it'll do the job. And ever prepared, even though I wasn't in the Boy Scouts, but the motto of be prepared, I do have a pair of gloves for lifting it off when it gets hot. And I have got my little silicone grabby thing. These are quite handy if you need to be lifting hot handles of mugs and things, but they don't give you the best stability, if I'm honest. But if you haven't got gloves on, they are a godsend. I'll just get rid of these bits, tidy up a bit. Oh, did you see that flare? That shows how well these wood walls actually burn. Just one strand of this wood wall gives off a really big flare. Right, so a little about this actual burner. It is stainless steel, so hopefully it'll give years of service. I've got a feeling it was around the 30 odd pound mark, but I'm not entirely certain. Like I say, I will put the price on screen. But one thing I can tell you is I do think it represents really good value for money when you compare it to the others out there. And I did look at bush boxes. I even looked at titanium ones, and they are really expensive, and I couldn't justify that sort of money for the use case I've got in mind for this. The dogs have decided it's playtime. The minute the camera comes out, they think it's playtime. Hello, hello, come. Good boy. Be quiet. Good boy. Don't jump on my knee. Not you either, Luna. Yeah, the dogs are having the usual fun time up at the field. So how are we doing on this boil anyway? Oh, we've got steam coming off it. There's no bubbles yet, but there is definitely steam coming off it. You have to excuse me a second. Got a slightly runny nose. There's plenty of flames coming up. Yeah. As for actual heat, I wouldn't say it's the sort of fire you could sit round and get a good warm in cold weather, but any flame's better than no flame when you're freezing cold. Yeah, you can warm your hands with it. If this was on the ground in front of you, I'm pretty sure you get a lot of heat. There's a fair amount of heat rising up from it. I think we're starting to get a bed of coals now, so hopefully things will progress quite well from here on. Yeah, that little tray at the front really is useful. That's killed the flames down a bit. I've actually probably prolonged this boil time putting those last two on. While we're waiting for that to come to the boil, I think I will put a bit of water in this kettle and see how this one performs. This one will boil a hell of a lot quicker, I'm sure, because it's got a larger surface area, less depth, and if memory serves, it only holds about 200 to 250 millilitres of water. So I would expect this little kettle on a stove like that to absolutely fly to the boil. But we'll find out once this one's hit, and we'll just do a quick swap over. The base of this, by the way, I meant to say, on the base you have got a double layer base with a solid base and a grill layer just above it to separate the ash out to allow you a better burn and to give you some airflow. And there are air holes all around the base just above the level of the grill section to improve airflow as well. So as you can see, it's having no problem with a burn. And like I say, this wood, I thought we might struggle with it being a little bit damp. Yeah, we've got bubbles coming now. I will say it's not particularly windy today. I was going to do this yesterday and the day before, but the wind here has been absolutely atrocious and the ground conditions have been nothing but mud. I was going to go up into our woodland that you can see behind me and do it, but I just didn't manage to find time, what with all the other tasks that the wind brought with it. Just feeding a few tiny little twigs in at the back end to try and get a bit more of a flame. I will move this cup. Oh yeah, we're coming to a boil now. So like I say, I will use the timestamp on the video to tell you how long this has actually took to boil, but if I'm honest with you, it's probably a bit longer than I would get on a trangia, but not a massive amount. And as I've said in nearly all my videos where I review cookers and things, boil times don't matter to me. If you're stopping to make a brew or to make some food, it shouldn't be a sprint. It should be a time you sit and enjoy what you're actually doing and taking your surroundings and things. I know that's a bit ironic coming from somebody who's sat making a video doing it, but if you're out there or you're in the woods or whatever, this is supposed to be a peaceful resting time. Right, what I am going to do, folks, I'm just going to disappear for a second. I'm going to recover some of this wood that the dog has pinched. I can hear that water boiling there. One thing I will say with this triangular design, because you feed the wood in from the back, it almost creates a heat zone. If I bring it to the point at the back of the triangle, the flames are greater, and that is a proper rolling boil. If I slide it to the front, the flames are lower and you've got more of the fresh wood. That rolling boil diminishes almost to a simmer. So it looks like you can. I can hear the difference when you move the mug further back. So there is a degree of heat control depending on where you place your pot. So anyway, we've got that one to a rolling boil. Task one completed. So what we'll do now is we'll pop this one on. I will just allow these. Now I can see where I'm placing the twigs. I'll just place a couple more in there. And hopefully give that a minute or two to catch. And we'll get this one there right in the centre where it'll hopefully get the best chance. The one thing I will say with wood stoves, puts an absolutely wonderful patina on your mugs, doesn't it? Nothing better than the sight of a well-used mug. Yeah, I think I've gone a bit keen and somewhat extinguished those flames. Our bit of breeze has just picked up, so hopefully that'll fan the flames a little. Yeah, there they go. The other thing I will say, even though I don't know whether it shows on camera, but this bench is slightly tapered towards the camera, sloped towards the camera. But even with that, nothing is moving around on this grill. It does seem to hold the pans really well. So that's another point to bear in mind. Seeing as I'm new to these wood stove, bush boxes, whatever you want to call them, if I'm doing anything wrong or you've got any tips for me, please feel free to add them into the comments. Yeah, there's definitely not as much flames with this. I'm wondering whether the larger surface area of the kettle sort of kills the fire a little. Yeah, as soon as I lift it off, the flames will back. So I think it benefits flame-wise from the round mug as opposed to the rectangular one. Strange, but then it's there's probably some great scientific reason around air vortices that are to do with the different shapes of mug. No, I'll not go off onto a tangent like this. Yeah, as you can see, it's playtime again. No. And I'm covered in mud. Lovely. The one thing you learn when you've got dogs and land is whenever you go outside, you make sure you wear trousers you don't mind getting muddy. If for any reason you go out in anything clean, you will guarantee it will come away with the best paw prints you will ever see. Right, so I'm not going to subject you to sitting and watching this one boil. You've already been patient enough to watch one boil. So what I'll do is I'll let this one come to the boil and off camera, and then we'll do a little roundup and I'll tell you what I think of this wood stove. Okay. Right then, folks, that's that kettle boiled and out of the way, and I thought, well, one of the uses I would have for a wood stove is as a small individual fire pit. So I've taken the grill off the top, stocked it up with wood, and as you can plainly see, you get quite a good flame off it. It's giving off quite a bit of heat. You could quite easily use this of an evening just as a fire pit to give you a little bit of extra warmth. It's never going to be the same as a big open fire or a full-size fire pit, sorry, but it definitely gives off some warmth. Because it is small chunks of wood, you are constantly feeding it if you want to keep a roaring fire going, and because of that, it's little and often. If you put too much on, you will end up covered in smoke. The addition of the heatproof mat does mean you can use it as a tabletop fire pit, as I'm doing now, and I will verify at the end that there's been no damage to the tabletop, but I can't see why there would be. I've used fireproof mats in bell tents and other tents and never had any problem with them at all. So what do I think? I think it represents absolutely fantastic value for money, if I'm honest with you. I would never have the use for a really expensive wood stove that could justify me paying those sort of prices. This is the sort of thing you can buy just for giggles, just to play with. You don't have to be serious about using wood stoves. It can be an occasional wood stove. I'm not saying it's inexpensive, but it's at a price where you can actually justify buying it and just experimenting, just playing, having a bit of fun with it. It comes with, like I say, everything you need. It's not as though you're going and buying anything other than using your existing pots and pans if you don't mind getting them a little bit sooty, because that's one of the downfalls of these. But if you use tranches, use the things getting sooty anyway. So yeah, I would recommend it. I've quite enjoyed just sitting here chucking little bits of wood on to keep it going, and I could see myself whiling away an evening in front of the tent doing just that. Bits of wood on, making a brew, that sort of thing. The dogs are trying to intimidate the sheep, but if ever they got through the fence, they would absolutely poo themselves. Anyway, back to the wood stove. Yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're in the market for one and you're not serious about ultra lightweight titanium ones, this is, as far as I can see, this is as much as you need. So it gets my recommendation. Anyway, folks, thanks for bearing with me through this video. It's been a little bit long and a little bit rambling, but I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. If you did, please remember, hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help. And like I say, if you've any suggestions for me or anything I've been doing wrong that you can correct me on, please put it in the comments. I'm always willing to learn. Anyway, as always, remember to keep on dabbling, and I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas.